Of Emelita Reeves, a Filipina mail-order bride who went missing in Arlington, Texas, is deeply intertwined with the suspicious deaths of her husband's previous wives. Emelita was reported missing after her friend expressed concern when she failed to answer her phone. When police conducted a welfare check, they found her husband, Jack Reeves, who claimed she often left for days at a time. As the investigation unfolded, detectives discovered that Jack Reeves had a troubling history.
His first wife, Sharon, died in 1978 from a gunshot wound, which he claimed was a suicide. However, evidence later suggested that her death was staged, leading to the exhumation of her body and a reclassification of her death to homicide. His second wife, Myeong, drowned under suspicious circumstances in 1984, with her family believing she had been abused by Reeves. The investigation into Emelita's disappearance intensified when it became clear that she was planning to leave Reeves, similar to his previous wives. This pattern raised significant suspicions about Reeves, especially as he had been married multiple times, with each marriage ending in tragedy or disappearance. Imagine a quiet suburb. A woman vanishes. Her story pulls back layers of lies and loss. This is the case of Emelita Reeves. Emelita came from the Philippines. She married through a mail-order service. She moved to Arlington, Texas. There she built a life as a devoted mom.
Hard, raised her kids with care. But one day she disappeared. No trace, no note, just gone.
At what costs can human lives be destroyed behind a facade of love? Examining the missing person case of Emelita Reeves, through an extensive review of publicly available sources sheds light on potential early warning signs. The primary hypothesis posits that the lives of both former spouses were intentionally taken by the same individual, with financial motive pointing toward the first ex-wife's demise. Available data were consulted for risk factors, situational motives, and success factors cited in studies of similar cases involving male perpetrators and female victims. A natural imbalance was noted, as very few reliable examples of female perpetrators were readily identifiable. In informal discussions, deterring such behavior was also suggested as key. Two women, both former spouses of the same man, died prematurely under circumstances that raised suspicions for one yet not the other. This disparity invites an obvious question: if the surviving ex-husband killed one wife, what would prevent him from having killed the other? Exploring this question requires not only reconstructing the basic facts of both cases but also determining whether the common motive that explains one death plausibly explains the other. Emelita Reeves, 28, disappeared on October 2, 1995, and was never located. Although a complaint had warned police that the wife's life was in danger, investigative records contain no explanation for the apparent oversight. Emelita Reeves had been married to a man whose first wife died 3 years earlier under circumstances that aroused suspicions about the ex-husband's involvement. However, sufficient evidence to justify an investigation was lacking. With Emelita's disappearance, the previous death re-emerged as an area of interest, because if the surviving spouse had killed one wife, what would prevent him from having killed the other? Fulfilling the commitments made to the family requires addressing that question. Investigating both cases simultaneously eases that task and ensures consistency across inquiries. Her husband, Reeves, called the cops. He seemed worried. Friends said their marriage had rough spots. Money fights. Control issues. But was that all? Detectives dug deeper. They found shadows from Tim's past. Tim had 2 ex-wives. Both died young. Yet questions lingered. No full probes back then. Enter the pros. Arlington detectives turned to the medical examiner.
In addition to the personnel from local and state law enforcement agencies, valuable future investigatorial insight came from the report of the medical examiner. As noted in the cause and manner of death section, the cause of death for one of the wives cannot be ruled as homicide, and the medical examiner's conclusions relative to the other death also have ramifications for the case in general. After a lengthy search, Emelita's remains were discovered in Lake Whitney in 1995, leading to Reeves being charged with her murder. Ultimately, Jack Reeves was convicted of murdering both Sharon and Emelita, receiving a 35-year sentence for Sharon's murder and a 99-year sentence for Emelita's. The case highlights the chilling narrative of a man whose relationships ended in violence, prompting law enforcement to scrutinize his past and the circumstances surrounding the deaths of his wives. Black Widower unmasked. He claimed innocence, but evidence stacked. Texts, witnesses, the past caught up. Cases like this remind us, love can hide poison. Stay alert. If you know more, call the tip line. Like and subscribe for true crime deep dives. What do you think happened?